Off-Center Vase by Moe.
All right, hey everybody. I'm Moe Milstead, fairly new to this, new to the club, been turning for probably 5 or 6 years. I'm really enjoying being part of this club. This is probably the highlight of my month, a lot of months. So tonight I'm doing an off-center vase. I get a lot of great stuff from my father-in-law. He's a pretty avid wood turner. And there's a lot of times that he lives out in Nevada, so we get to see him about once a year. So I'll drive out, get a bunch of stuff, and then that stuff will sit until I figure out what it actually is, and then figure out, oh, hey, this is really neat. I can do this or I can do that. And it's, I'm rather spoiled when it comes to that. It's really neat. I'm lucky. So one of the things he gave me is this off-center chuck system. And is there a way to do the top camera? Let's see here if you can see this. Is that it? So this is from PSI. Unfortunately, when I set up for this, I went to find this setup. They don't sell it anymore. So, but and this one's it's neat because it comes with this off-center chuck. It's this thing. It's fairly easy to use. There's an adjustment on it right here, and this center thing moves up and down, and that's how you get your off center. It's actually very simple, heavy but simple. Yes, sir, Ken. How far off center can I make it? It looks about an inch or so. About an inch. Yeah. It looks like if I measure it, it looks like it's about an inch. And it comes with a couple of other attachments for doing bottle stop mandrels and pin mandrels. So had an instructional DVD. I didn't get that, but that's cool. So doing some research, I found, actually me and Tom found a couple companies that make them. And so this first one right here is by longworthchuck.com, and it's a pretty big piece. The one that I like the best is from Axminster Tools out of the UK. So if you look at this picture right here, you can tell where they you put it into your existing chuck, and then you can kind of move it off center. So that's actually pretty cool. And then Robert Sorby has a system, and I didn't get much detail on that one. He's pretty proud of it. He wants about $550 for it. So, and then the last one, it's not really an off-center chuck. It's called the wobble chuck. I think that Rockler carried him for a while. You guys probably seen that one before, but that one looks kind of neat. I got a little bit of a glare there, apologize. But yeah, it looks like you could do some really neat stuff. So I started making these things about, I don't know, was it last year? And this is just like the basic thing that you can do with this chuck is just make a vase. And they seem to be pretty popular at the shows I go to. I put some, dry flowers in them, and I don't sell them for much, and just it's an easy kind of sell. And I like to use branch wood for it, because I just like having, I know you can get the pith, you can have cracks out of the pith and stuff, but I just kind of like having all those features. And sometimes, like on the bottom side of this one, there's like little cracks and there's a little knot, and it's just cool features, So, and I guess I could show the camera better. There we are. Oh, down there? Okay. Yep. So that's kind of what it looks like. Like I said, and all these little holes, I don't fill them. I just call them features. And we just kind of go on from there. And I find the ones with the most kind of ugliness to them, I think they turn out the best. So that's what I do with it. So today I have some cherry from Eureka. I have a buddy out there that has some property. So First thing I'm going to do is I'll start off, I'll kind of round it off more. And one of the things about this project is um, you're really kind of aggressive on the when you get off center, and I do a lot of sanding on it. And Steve says, "Hey, no sanding." So, good news for you, you don't have to watch me sand. So, but yeah, it ends up there's if you're not careful, there's a lot of tear out. And sometimes that's technique on my part, which is, I got a lot to learn. So, but so yeah, only get started. It's a pretty basic setup. We've got it right in the center. Testing. Need some wax. Testing. Still echo. Anything? Is that better? So there's a little bit of wobble at the very end of it, but I'm gonna make it all nice and smooth, and then we're gonna go down, and I'll just do it from there. Oh, okay. You make me nervous behind me like that. So one of the things they say when you're doing this is before you go to that's the first offset as you kind of do your movements. I'm only gonna do one. I'm gonna do center, and then I'm gonna move the center down. Well, they say make sure that you um, sand eat before you move it each time because there's no going back. So, and sometimes that's good, sometimes that's bad. But for this thing, for this project, I do a lot of I do a lot of sanding on it, but I still only do them in like an hour or something like that. So when I started off making these, I made them flat on the bottom. And when I showed the boss at the house, she's like, "Why are you making it flat at the bottom?" I'm like, "I don't know. I just thought it was flat would be okay flat." And then I did the rounded it off like that, and she was right. It looked better. It's always good to have a second opinion, I guess. I'm going to take, I'm not going to sand it, but I'll take this down smaller, and then we'll take this off and I'll kind of move it down. And I usually try to move it to the extremes because I just like the kind of that look, you know, the kind of the look of it's way off center. So the more off center, the more meat you're going to have to take off, or the more wood you're going to have to take off. So I wouldn't sand this part before I move it. I just kind of move it. When I'm at the house, I actually do this differently. I would do this straight on the lathe, and then I would move it over to that chuck. But for this demonstration, I left it on the chuck. Since I've tightened it down, I'm going to have to loosen this thing. Nice. It did not cooperate like that this afternoon for me, so that's good. So that's why the Allen head, there it is. So the cool thing about this is that if there's a feature that you kind of want on one part of the vase or another, you can kind of rotate that piece to where you know that all that material is going to stay, but the other stuff will be taken away. There's been a couple times I've made them, and it was like, man, I really wanted that piece to stay, and I didn't rotate it right. So when you start to figure out how the piece is going to be turned, so if I wanted this to stay, right, I would want to have it. Of course, this is on the bottom, but if I wanted this piece to stay, I'd make sure that this is where it's closest to me, so that's where the most meat is going to come off the wood. So I'd want to rotate that somewhere where it's gonna be safe, right? So there's really nothing of much note on this piece of wood, so I'm just going to go ahead and turn it. So if you look at it, I probably moved it maybe 3/4 of an inch. Do they? Yeah. Do they recommend a minimum weight on the lathe? I can't say that I know. I haven't seen that. I used to use this on a record machinery Herald, and it seemed to do just fine. I just went and turned it up as high, or kind of make sure. Obviously you're gonna watch because it'd walk away from you, as they all do, right? So I can't imagine that you'd want to use it on a small 12-inch lathe or anything that small. You would definitely want something with, something with some weight behind it. I mean, if you had like a smaller lathe with a stand. Actually, if you had a smaller lathe that was kind of attached to a table, you probably can get away with that, right? But if it was on a stand, if you put like sandbags or something like that on the bottom, but I think if you just watch the speed, you'd probably be all right. And you could also just kind of say, hey, I'm not gonna turn anything off center that much. So yeah, it said it came with a DVD, but I did not get the DVD. It's probably somewhere. I probably need to find that. So it's vibrating, but it's the plastic is vibrating. The machine is literally not. I mean, this thing's like 750 pounds. So, and I'm sitting at 630 right now, all the way down to like 570, and it's pretty good. So this is kind of where it gets it's just gonna be aggressive, and I found that I just try to take out a lot of material fast because it's going to come out pretty quickly, and then I'll go back at the end with I found if I use like a bowl gouge to clean it up, it does significantly better. So, and I'll speed it up as I go. And it's just like anything. If you watch the horizon, you can kind of see how it's going, and it definitely helps you because at some point you're going to kind of want to get it to kind of have a nice smooth transition, and depending on what you want the neck to look like, I like the ones that kind of flower up. I think those look great. So down there, the curve is where you have to kind of pay the most attention to because that's where you tend to get the most tear out. And it looks tore out right now, obviously. You can see it. There's a little bit of a glare, but I mean, it's the tear out you would expect from doing this kind of process, but most of it'll sand out once I get the bowl gouge on it. I actually usually use a big heavy scraper on this because it's a heavy tool and it doesn't vibrate around, and it feels like it can take off faster, but the spindle gouge just seems to be doing pretty good. I've done a couple where I was able to keep the bark on, and that's kind of, it's like with any turning piece with bark. It looks really cool, but it's not as easy sometimes to keep the bark on. These pieces, the bark was ready to come off, so there was no hope for them. Let's see if I can't get it to go faster. Oh, there we go. That's nice. I got it about that 870 now. Down there that curve, you want to just do just as light as touch as you can do. And to see how I'm looking. It's not looking too bad. Have some tear out. I'll try to clean up a little bit there. And obviously it's ingrained, so it's really hard to clean that up with sandpaper, as you all probably know. I usually, and like I said earlier, I really use the sandpaper on this because I like the nice the nice clean contours, and it's nice and smooth. So I use the sandpaper a lot, but I don't know if you can see it on the camera. So this line right here is where that pith is, and that's one of the things I like. I like to have that look there. So it just looks neat, and it's even okay because sometimes they'll start to crack. There's kind of a little knot right here, and I think it just adds character to the piece. So yeah, it's nice. It's a nice little piece of cherries and a lot of red in it. Little streaks of red. Pretty nice. We did the pin show with St. Louis a couple months ago, and I was banking on the fact that people go to pin shows probably not wanting to buy pins. They're probably being drugged there by their boyfriend or girlfriend or whoever, you know. And so we had pins out, but I put a bunch of these out and bowls and stuff, and I did better on the other stuff than I did my pins. But you know. And I might have had them. I think I might have had them priced too low because a lady asked me how much it was, and I told her the price, and she's like, "Whoop," took it really fast. I'm like, "Oh man, I wonder how much slower that reaction would have been with $5 extra or something." You know, he's like, you never know. It's just funny how you never know with pricing. What's good in one part of the city is probably not as good in other parts of the city. I was talking to some customers this last Saturday about these, and I was explaining the term fogwood. Does everybody use the term fogwood? Found on ground? Yeah, they thought it was pretty funny that it was like I call it fogwood. I mean, it's found on ground. That's what kind of wood it is, and they seem to appreciate that. They didn't buy the vase, but she still appreciated it. So what I like to make sure is to see if I got the old center mark out, and I didn't, but that's okay. We're gonna call it a feature. When I put the hole through there, I'll kind of turn that out and make it look a little bit better. I have a couple more features. It's pretty cool. Yeah, that's my favorite thing about these vases is these just little features that you kind of find as they come up. Especially because it's branch wood. There's no telling what's in there, you know. Looks like this little piece was from a leaf or something like that was growing. There's one way that I didn't talk about at the beginning. It was you can do these with, you can kind of do these, no? All right. You could do these kind of in between center as well. It's just a little bit more, I guess it's more of a challenge, but I think probably everybody's seen that before. You turn it, then you kind of just take it off the center and still do it in center. So this seems a lot less frustrating. Ooh, look at that. That's two of them. Just gonna try to get that. Yep, I got two nice gouges. Let's see if I can do this without gouging it more. See how much more we have to go. Oh no, that turned out really nice. Holy cow. I'm not going to mess with that anymore. So, this is where we'd go, and I'd sand all this and make it look pretty. kind of like that, take it up to about 400 grit. And the next thing I'll do is drill it. Any questions so far? Easy crowd, thank you. That's not fine. So again, I'd go through, sand it. I kind of just go as deep as the drill bit goes and kind of call it a day on this. After all, it's just it is just for dry twigs. Oh, so the question is it when I'm drilling it, is it better to use a brad point? Yeah, I always use brad points because it gets that center every time, and it doesn't, the drill bit, in theory, won't walk on you, because if you don't use a brad tip, you have the issue of the drill bit walking on you. I'm gonna have to get the knock for this thing. This one does not like to come out on my lathe. So the final thing I do before I do the finishing is I open that up a little bit to make it look pretty. I've tried this several different ways and kind of try to cheat it, and as it turns out, just using the old bowl hole gouge is the best way of doing it. I thought it'd be smart to use one of those big tapered bits, you know, from like Harbor Freight. I thought I was the smartest guy. I'm like, yeah, this is gonna be great, and no, it was dumb. I just do this, and it's quicker. Tried and true. This thing. I think I had a little dot on the end. I'm trying to get that out. If you get this too small on this end, you'll find that it flexes when you're trying to do that part of it, and it'll look up, kind of look off-centered even more, and it looks okay, or just depends on what you're going for, but it looks lopsided. I got a little bit of chip out there. Let's see what I can do with that. Yeah, the great thing about this it's an easy project. It's fast, and you kind of just go with how the wood kind of looks as you're working it, and it's quick. I think we've been doing this probably 30 minutes or so. So yeah, it's a quick project. Yeah, that's how you do it. Pretty straightforward. Any questions?